All right, now we are going to welcome to the show from the great state of Washington, Democratic Congressman Adam Smith. He's the ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, appreciate you being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
So with Congress returning, there is still concern over a potential government shutdown. And North Carolina Republican Congressman Chuck Edwards joined NewsNation earlier. Listen to this.
I've got full confidence that given a couple of the different options that we have before us, that we'll continue to fund the government. I just hope we could get the bipartisan support to do that in a more fiscally responsible manner.
What do you think? Is it still possible to reach some type of bipartisan agreement here?
It's going to be extraordinarily difficult because President Trump has pretty much said that he can spend the money however he wants, regardless of what Congress does. We saw him do, I think it's $4.5 billion in rescissions on foreign aid programs just a couple days ago. And throughout this year, he has blocked funding that Congress has approved. So we get together, we do a bipartisan deal, we send it off to the president, and then he just does what he wants. We're going to need some assurances that what Congress does matters, because President Trump right now, he's violating the Constitution. He's violating the law by not spending the money the way the law says it should be spent. And he's kind of saying, I can do that, and I'm going to keep doing it. So what's the point of the congressional exercise if we have a president who doesn't pay any attention to the law? So there's going to be reassurances needed on that, or we're going to really struggle to get anything passed. And I think we're headed towards 4 or 5 months. Government shutdown's an overstatement because we're talking about less than a third of the budget that's at stake. But there's a major clash coming between Congress and the president, and we'll see if the Republicans stand up for the law and for Congress's right to appropriate.
All right, we'll get ready for a showdown, it sounds like. Thanks for weighing in on that one. Also, the president is looking to expand his crime crackdown to other blue cities, saying he's going to be sending more enforcement into Chicago, piggybacking off of our Mills Hayes reporting here. And the mayor of Chicago actually signing this executive order, too, to resist Trump. Let's listen to that.
We take these threats seriously, and we find ourselves in a position where we must take immediate, drastic action to protect our people from federal overreach. Protecting Chicago will ensure that every Chicagoan knows their rights, that every single family is prepared, and every part of city government is directed to protect the people of Chicago from federal action.
So crime is down in recent years in Chicago, but still there's just a ridiculous number of severe crimes happening. In fact, just this weekend, we've got some numbers to share. 3 people were killed, 24 injured in shootings across the Chicago area. I mean, this is just in this weekend so far. Is the president wrong to say that more needs to be done?
No. Three quick points. One, crime is absolutely a problem. And I think it needs to be addressed. Now, personally, I think the way to address it is with more local policing and better investment in communities. And certainly there are a number of cities across the country that have struggled to do that. They haven't had a fully functional criminal justice system. So I don't think anybody is saying that crime isn't a problem. But 2 things that are really troubling about this. First of all, crime is higher in Shreveport, Louisiana than it is in Washington, D.C. Violent crime is higher in Oklahoma City than it is in Washington, D.C. So the president choosing to attack cities run by Democrats comes off as partisan instead of a legitimate effort to deal with a policy issue. And the other much larger problem, and this goes back to the funding issue we were talking about a moment ago, President Trump is ruling more like an autocrat than he is like a democratically elected president with the Constitution. Using the U.S. military for domestic law enforcement is, again, a direct violation of the Constitution. And also, by the way, not what the U.S. military is trained to do. I am the ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee. I've been on the House Armed Services Committee for 29 years. I know what the U.S. military is supposed to do, and it's not domestic law enforcement. That is an autocratic move that is likely to make things worse instead of better. So yes, crime is absolutely a problem. Sending in the U.S. military is absolutely not the answer. And it's very clear that the president is doing this from a partisan perspective. He's not looking at cities that are in, red areas that are having problems with crime and doing anything about them.
Well, on our nation's capital, where things have started, there is a Democratic mayor, of course, Muriel Bowser, and she's weighing the pros and cons there. She's been hot and cold, mostly cold on it. But she says since Trump has taken action, we know that we've had fewer gun crimes, fewer homicides, and experienced an extreme reduction in carjackings. We're going to have to leave that topic there because I want to move on to this as well. We can hit on some more global news that we really wanted to bring you on the program. You recently called on the United States to stop the sale of some offensive weapons to Israel if they don't implement a ceasefire. So if the president agreed to this, what do you think we would see change in Gaza?
Well, we'd see a stop to the war directly, and you'd see an increase in humanitarian assistance. And look, I am a strong supporter of Israel, and I have supported them in their response to October 7th and what they did against Hezbollah and what they've done against Iran. They have attacked their enemies and weakened their enemies. But military commanders, Israeli military commanders, are saying that there is nothing more that can be militarily achieved in Gaza. They have done what they could do. The thing that's going to stop Hamas now is to build a legitimate alternative to Hamas in Gaza. And Palestinians who want to be that alternative, and by the way, the King of Jordan, King Abdullah, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, they are working with Palestinians that are alternatives to Hamas, but they can't get started because the war will not stop. So the military analysis is that continuing the war in Gaza will not achieve Israel's objective. The way to destroy Hamas is to replace them. Continuing this war at this point is not going to achieve that objective.
Right.
We all see the humanitarian crisis.
Yeah.
We all want Hamas defeated. But the military has done what it can do, even in the estimation of many Israeli generals.
Well, and we know that the humanitarian crisis is just growing to out of control levels there in Gaza,
Absolutely.
and time is running out for the hostages as well. Democratic Congressman Adam Smith, really appreciate you being here, ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee. Thank you.